Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. My name is Matt O'Connell, and you have tuned in to Spoken Truth Revolution. Really glad that you are listening in, you're tuning in, you're sharing posts, you're sharing the values and the principles that this country was founded on, Christian values, and we need to all continue to spread it. We all need to continue to speak up, to have courage, and even though the resistance towards those values appears to be pretty strong, I believe that we, in fact, are truly the majority as it relates to these values, these principles, in order to seize back our country. So again, really appreciate you tuning in today. Couple headlines I'd like to talk about today. Number one, we have the new Texas heartbeat bill, as everyone is talking about. It seems like every election cycle, there's about 2 to 3 times where, and let me also preface it with this. We understand that there's a lot of people consistently in the fight for babies who have yet to be born and trying to protect their lives so that they can live a life that is filled with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just as the Constitution is written. So the battle is always going on, but it seems as though seasonally, if there's a new law that's enacted or someone's getting, placed into the administration or something related to that, there's a social media uproar. A lot of posts are being shared. A lot of people end up hopefully dialoguing respectfully about it. But one of the things is that, again, we need to know that this is an ongoing battle that never stops. So couple myths about this particular bill that a lot of the left is pushing, the media is pushing, and the Democrats as well. Couple things. This bill allows anyone, any citizen, to sue an entity doctor such as Planned Parenthood or a medical doctor who is conducting abortions, to be sued by any private citizen. And a couple myths about it is, looks like the mother can be sued. No, actually, the bill protects the mother, which is pretty interesting as it relates to those who advocate for women's rights, which I 100% support. I don't support the aspects of women's rights as it relates to killing babies, but you cannot sue the mother. And no, if a woman is raped, the rapist cannot sue the entities involved in the abortion. So that's also a myth that is being spread around social media. So again, we have this social media uproar. And I've been talking to my wife about this particular issue, and it's quite interesting. Just a couple notes before I'm actually going to dive into some data, because I think the data tells us a lot of things related to abortion and just in general what our societal mindset is at, which is really it's self-preserving, self-fulfilling, so on and so forth. We see that just going on social media, all the selfies and people taking pictures of themselves, and there's a really strong narcissistic spirit in our society. And we're going to look at some data that looks at the real core issues as to why abortions are conducted. Because, again, there are a lot of reasons why certain groups, the left, certain women, the media really advocate for pro-choice. And they highlight certain issues that really are a fraction of the reasons why women get abortion. We'll take a look at that as well. But we need to understand that abortion is a new word as it relates to what the term abortion is. Abortion, we think we're born in a generation where we all know what abortion is. It's killing babies, right? But we don't say killing babies. We say things like reproductive rights, which is pretty ironic because when we think about the term reproduction, that is to produce offspring, and reproductive rights is in our day and age, literally contrary to what reproduction actually is. So reproductive rights is contrary to what the words and the terms actually mean. And we can't, and we just need to continue to call it for what it is. It truly is killing babies, killing babies. Is it ironic or is it interesting that there's what's called a Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act? Let me just read a little bit about this. This law, originally passed in 1940, provides for the protection of the bald eagle and the golden eagle, as amended in 1962, by prohibiting the take, possession, sale, purchase, barter, offer to sell, purchase, or barter, transport, export, or import of any bald or golden eagle alive or dead, including any part, nest, or egg. I find that interesting because you can be fined thousands of dollars if you destroy bald or golden eagle eggs. You could serve prison time as well. We have laws that protect animals in our society. And please note, do not construe my words. I am not an advocate of destroying eagle eggs, okay? I think anybody who destroys any life has serious mental issues. So please don't construe my words. I'm not saying, well, we should be able to destroy eagle eggs if we destroy babies. No, actually, we should support all life. I'm glad that there is a law for bald and golden eagles, but I believe there should be a law that protects the unborn human being, the child in the womb as well. So our society needs to relook at the issue at hand. And again, let's dive into the data. Let's dive into the data. So I did a bit of research. Guttmacher Institute data. This is coming from Guttmacher Institute. And so what we're going to do, we're going to compare the latest births to abortion data, which is actually from 2018, which provides total births, total abortions. So there were, for potential births, 4,411,303 potential births for 2018. The NIH reported 3,791,712 births in 2012. Okay, so that's, we'll call it 3.8 million births in 2000. Did I say 12? I meant to say 2018. And then USA Facts reports the following abortions for 2018: 619,591 abortions. So again, there's 4.4 million potential births, 3.7, 3.8 actual births, and then 600, we'll call it 620,000 abortions. What does that equate to percentage-wise? What this means is that there's a 14% chance of a baby being aborted. Let that sink in. 14% chance of a baby being aborted as of 2018. I'll say it one more time. There's a 14% chance of a baby being aborted as of 2018, looking at that data. That's an 86% chance that that baby or a baby in the womb would survive birth, and they would die as a result, I should say murdered as a result of being aborted. There's only an 86% chance of that baby dying, those babies surviving, okay? And so when we look at, let's compare it to COVID, because everyone's freaking out about COVID, and it's apples to oranges. No, it's not, because COVID is, the left and the Democrats are trying to run our lives with COVID. They're trying to run our lives. They're trying to remove our freedoms. They're trying to protect our children. They're trying to mask our children. They're trying to force vaccinations. They're trying to close our businesses. They're trying to restrict the ability for us to go out to eat in restaurants, to work out in the gym, to do basic things that a free society should allow its citizens to do. Here's the death rate. And these statistics, I made a video before related to the COVID statistics. It's about 5 minutes. It's heavy in the data as it relates to COVID, but take a look at it. It may be beneficial as you begin to argue with folks and speak out into your community with your legislators, so on and so forth. But so the current COVID death rate to survival rate based on estimated infections, there's an estimated infections that the CDC had stopped polling or stopped calculating as of May 2021. I don't know why they stopped. They should continue to do it because it dramatically affects the statistics as it relates to COVID survivability versus COVID death rate. So here's the death rate based on COVID estimated infections for the ages of 0 to 17 years old. Death rate, 0.00149%. Survival rate, 99.9985%. That is the death rate and the survival rate of COVID for the ages of 0 to 17 years old. Now, let's get in a little bit into the reasons why women get abortion. So let me also say this. I believe abortion is wrong. I'm a Christian. I believe it is a sin. However, I've also sinned in my life many times. I need to ask God for forgiveness. Jesus' grace and mercy can cover the sin of abortion for anyone involved who have a repenting heart towards Jesus and they believe in Jesus as Lord and Savior. I don't think anyone is beyond redemption. I don't think anyone is beyond redemption as it relates to believing in Jesus Christ. So know that as I share all this information as well. I should have said that at the beginning, but it is what it is. So as it relates to abortion, we have around a total of 86% as to why women get abortion. Here are the reasons, and they're all itemized out as well, but not ready for another child. Timing is wrong. Can't afford a baby now. Have completed childbearing. Have other people depending on me, and other children are grown up and don't want to be a single mother and are having relationship problems. Don't feel mature enough to raise another child. Feel too young. Would interfere with education or career plans. And that compiles 86% as far as why women get abortions. And when we look at and screen through the Bible, because again, for me, if you're not a believer, I hope you become a believer in Jesus Christ someday, but it helps to make sense of things in this world. Abortion is not new. What they used to call it biblically, the word abortion was created when abortion was medically allowed in around the 60s, 70s in the U.S. And so before that, it would be murder. It would be killing a baby. And it would, previous to that, biblically, children's sacrifice was prevalent throughout every single society, not exclusive to the U.S., but South America, Africa, Europe, so on and so forth, Asia. So children's sacrifice was done to specific gods, and within the biblical context, this god Molech, who people would give their children, literally sacrifice their children to Molech so that they would have success opportunities. In other words, a career path. They felt that they weren't financially ready. They would be blessed, with finances. So you can see the correlation. So perhaps the method of killing babies has changed, but the purpose has not changed. You see what's going on here, even as we look at texts from the Bible. Okay. Now, a big talking point related to abortion is the idea of, well, what if the mother is a victim of rape or incest? And that ends up taking over the entire argument. It's trying to validate, well, would it be right or wrong if the woman is raped or incest was, happen to the mother. Of course, I believe, and everyone would agree with the fact that rape and incest is wrong. But do you know what the percentage is as far as the reasons why women get abortion? Rape and incest is less than 0.5%. So what does that mean? Should we negate the fact that rape and incest is completely evil? Absolutely not. Those things are completely evil, but it should not overtake the conversation. What we need to realize, and I believe the left is at this point, is that the left is trying to convince themselves, and maybe you're in this position as well, trying to convince yourself that the child in the womb is not a human being. And if you can convince yourself that to be true, which it is not true, because like the likeliness of a baby surviving birth is extremely high, especially with all the medical advances that we have in our day and age, right? But at the end of the day, the left needs to convince themselves that it is not a human being in the womb. Therefore, they do not have rights. Therefore, they're at my disposal and I can kill it. Well, that is the core issue of the argument. Is it a human being? Is he or she, I should say, a human being? I say yes. And we have a God to answer to. And I suppose we will see who is right in the end. And I hope that one day, if you're listening to this and you at one point thought that the child in the womb was not a human being, that it could be killed, aborted, in other words, I hope that you see that there's potential in every human being, including yourself. You were not aborted, so therefore, what gives us the right to abort any other human being? All right, next up, you may or may not have heard of what's going on in California, but California is, man, people are rising up. True American patriots are rising up in California like I've never seen before. And it is encouraging because if it can happen in California, good gracious, it can happen anywhere in this country. So, as you may know, Governor Gavin Newsom is being recalled. There's an election coming up in a couple days. Today's September 9th, and it is, I believe, September 14th. And the top opponent is a man, Larry Elder. And let me give you a little background about Larry Elder. So, born in 1952, is an American conservative talk radio host, author, politician, and attorney who hosts the Larry Elder Show. He's the son of a World War II veteran. Parents, Elder grew up in South Central LA. Elder started his career in law, followed by a career in radio, film, and TV, where he expresses conservative political views. And it's going to be a very, very tight race. I am looking forward to the results and the outcomes that we may see as part of this recall election effort. Now, the one thing that's quite interesting about this man, Larry Elder, is, as you know, he, based on that quick summary of his background, he's a conservative, but he is also, as the left often points out in everything in society, his race, color, he's a black man. He is a black conservative. He is an encyclopedia of information. If you have ever heard this man talk, he knows his stuff, and he comes against the ideas, again, given himself. I mean, growing up in South Central LA, tough part of California, he knows what hard work is, and that you can overcome anything in this society. And he really comes against the ideologies of systematic racism, white privilege, and again, being a black man. And so what's even more interesting, a couple things, I'm just going to read a few headlines. The Independent talk show host hoping to unseat California governor says systematic racism is a lie. And he often talks about that if you've heard him on his radio show. Los Angeles Times, recall candidate Larry Elder is a threat to Black Californians. That's interesting. I would think that as if I were Black and I see a Black man running for governor, like with a likeliness of him becoming governor of a state, California, I would almost think that would give me a bit of hope that, shoot, maybe I could do something big with my life. But LA Times doesn't think that, because the left wants to control communities and demographics based on fear. They want you to fear, and if they can instill enough fear in you, they can control you. If they put enough fear and crises in your life, then the left believes, if they can do that, they can provide the solutions to the fear and the crises, as we're seeing throughout Joe Biden's presidency, right? But that's what the LA Times is headlining here, is exactly that. Another LA Times headline, there's a couple of them. Larry Elder's fans prove he's a face of white supremacy. This is a Black man, okay? Larry Elder, conservative, strong in his convictions. I love that about him. I don't agree with every single thing that he is asked about, but for the majority, the 99% of it, I agree with it. I hope he gets it, and he's more of a conservative libertarian in some issues. But man, if that headline again, I'll read it again. Larry Elder's fans prove he's a face of white supremacy. If that ain't racist, I don't know what racist is. They don't know what racism is, in fact. They have tried to redefine racism to a point where racism can mean anything. It can mean anything to them. Here's another one. Let's see. I guess that's it. That's all I got. But needless to say, I hope he gets it, because I think it would be a great thing for California. And again, if you've heard what he believes, what his principles are, his values are, they are pro-American, and they value the ideas of Christian Judeo principles, which is really great. And I think it would be a great thing for the state of California. And I am rooting for you all over there in California, those who love America and who are pro-American and the principles, values that it holds. So here's another headline. We have another battle of the medicines. We got Joe Rogan. He, as you know, he got COVID. He ended up coming out with a social media video saying he threw the kitchen sink at it. He took a bunch of stuff that is contrary to just simply taking the vaccine, like the left wants you to do, Fauci wants you to do, Biden wants you to do, all the left, the Democrats want you to do. And he got better in like 3 days. And they were upset. They were upset that he was lying, that he was taking horse dewormer, which is not. It's ivermectin, which is a Nobel Peace Prize winning medicinal product. I think it was back in 2015. But it looks like he may be suing, or potentially, I should say, suing CNN, because they're just flat out lying about it all. And so we'll see how that pans out. But there's such an intense battle around medical freedom, and the left doesn't want any freedom. They'll argue, well, you don't want freedom for abortion. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. Freedom is so beneficial, just as long as it doesn't dramatically kill anybody, right? So you can't just say, well, America's about, the land of freedom and liberty, etc. I can do anything I want. I can kill a baby. No, you can't kill a baby, okay? And they'll argue, well, like, you should get the vaccine because, you're killing people because you don't want to take the vaccine. Well, have you looked at the data? I read the data earlier, and again, for the most part, for the ages of 0 to 17 years old, which is really the talking point now because kids are going back to school. They want to mask the kids. They want to require vaccine for the kids and so on and so forth. It's a 99.9985% chance of survival. So yeah, I want to say I don't necessarily need to get the vaccine because I have nearly 100% chance of surviving. I'm healthy. I'm not overweight. I'm not obese. Those are the high risk folks. I'm not elderly. So they should probably highly consider getting the vaccine, not me, because I don't feel like I need it because I have a better chance of surviving COVID with my own immune system, my own health versus potentially getting a vaccine that I don't necessarily need. So have a nice day. And so the last thing I want to spend a little bit of time on is what is going on in Afghanistan. I mean, you can't have it's like, as I look back, it's been about 2 weeks or so since it's like Joe Biden, it's like he's playing a game of Jenga and he's pulling out all the wrong blocks. And that's really Afghanistan. That's the Afghanistan situation. He's pulling out all the wrong blocks in Jenga. And it's, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? It's like, okay, we'll pull out the troops first. We'll leave the civilians there. Dumb move. Okay, and then we'll give a list of names of all the people, American citizens, Afghan allies. We'll give that list to the Taliban. Super wrong move. Let's remember, Taliban were part of 9/11. They helped facilitate the destruction of the Twin Towers, which killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and also the attacks on the Pentagon and the plane that landed in the field in Pennsylvania. We cannot forget who we are dealing with over there in Afghanistan. And Joe Biden is like allowing this group of terrorists to take over. And not only that, but giving them a list of people who, people were saying this is like a kill list. I mean, it's the Taliban terrorists. They're gonna just take the list and hunt these people down and kill them, or maybe take them as hostages. And it's like, what are you doing? You are pulling out all the wrong pieces in this Jenga puzzle, and Jenga ain't that hard. I'll tell you that. And I feel that most people with two brain cells to rub together understand they question, why did you take the troops out first? Why didn't you take them out last? Why did you give a list of American citizens and Afghan allies to the Taliban, who are a terrorist organization? Why would you do such a thing? And then this new news is circling around the situation with not just Glenn Beck. There's also other non-governmental organizations trying to get the people that the Biden administration left behind. They left these people behind. They stranded American citizens, and it is a factual statement. Fact checkers can't remove me, can't censor me. It is a factual statement that is what the Biden administration and the State Department has done. They have stranded Americans behind enemy lines in the hands of the Taliban terrorists who facilitated 9/11 and the attack on the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and the plane that got brought down in Pennsylvania. That is who we're dealing with. And Biden left them behind, and there's no plan that he has in place to get them out. Not only does he not have a plan, he is nearly facilitating blocking these people from being rescued. And so here's a headline from Blaze Media: 6 planes on a mission to rescue more than 100 Americans wanting to leave Afghanistan were grounded by the Taliban as negotiations continued with the State Department Monday. The evacuation effort was part of a mission charted by Mercury One, the charity founded by conservative media personality, the Blaze founder, Glenn Beck. Newsweek confirmed the details through an NGO, or non-governmental organization, working on the evacuation. So these are private citizens. That's what's amazing. These are all private citizens trying to evac these people, American citizens, out of Afghanistan. This is the government's job. The government's job is to serve and to protect us, and we pay them to do that with our tax dollars. They are not doing it, and the private citizens are rising up and are taking responsibility when the Biden administration refuses to take the responsibility to do it. And not only that, it's like they are blocking it now. They are blocking these rescue planes, these missions, these NGOs from getting out of Afghanistan. That is what is even more concerning about this whole entire situation. The planes are currently empty, and its passengers are still waiting in their safe houses for clearance to take off from the Taliban, said one NGO official to Newsweek. I have more than 1,000 people on the master. And so it's, you have to wonder, okay, so it's like, okay, maybe it was just a bad move at first, Biden removing the troops. I mean, everyone was appalled when that happened. It's one thing when you just remove troops, but knowingly that there are citizens still there when you remove the troops, I would think, and everyone has, I think, around, if you take a census, everyone agrees on this sentiment. You should have removed the citizens first, the American citizens first, and then, use the troops for protecting them on them evacuating, and then remove the military after, right? So that's first thing. And then they were lying about it. The Biden administration were lying, but oh no, we didn't leave anybody. Like they just want to stay. They just want to stay. And then they found out, because their butt is being held to the fire by pretty good reporting on, I'll say, on all sides, which is good, which is kind of weird agreeing with some of the mainstream media, even CNN. It's like, whoa, it's like first time I've ever agreed with CNN about anything. But needless to say, they were lying that they were stranding, leaving people stranded in Afghanistan. They were leaving people stranded. They were just nitpicking on the words. Psaki was nitpicking on the words. And then the State Department gives the Taliban a list of U.S. citizens and Afghan allies that we want you to, protect or bring to the airport or get an Uber driver. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what they were thinking either. It's like, and again, Taliban, we can't forget who they are. We're coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and this is how we're going to celebrate. I'm certainly not going to celebrate this way, but it's just a sad moment in history where we want to remember the lives lost, the lives given, and then, throughout the last 20 years, even more lives lost in the military trying to protect the free world from these terrorists. Remember, Afghanistan was a terrorist training ground, training base for the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, so on and so forth. And it's like Joe Biden at this point, where now he's preventing these private citizens, these NGOs, from taking off out of Afghanistan. And it's not only that, but they won't allow these private charters to land in Department of Defense air bases. And so they probably can leave, but they don't have anywhere to land, right? And they're not, the Department of Defense needs to provide authorization to land in either U.S. base or military base or local country. And the Department of Defense is not allowing it. They are not approving it. Why? Why is that the case? It's like, at first it was like, all right, Joe Biden, he's like pulling the wrong Jenga pieces out. He's what is he doing in Afghanistan? It's like, you don't want to rip the foundation out first. You want to take it piece by piece. You want to be strategic about it. It's like, all right, he wasn't really strategic about it, but now he's like preventing the well-being and safety of American citizens. What is going on? What is going on with this administration? They clearly don't appear to have American citizens' interests at the forefront. And that is concerning. And I hope we're all speaking up about it. But that's all I have for today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, an amazing weekend celebrating and honoring the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And remember this, I truly believe that there are more Americans who are passionate about the principles, the values of our country than what the media is showing, what social media is showing. I believe we are the majority, and never lose sight of that. And I hope that our country continues to return to God, because again, it's because of Jesus and the Christian faith as to why this country was founded in the first place. If we look back at the Pilgrims, if we look at all the founding fathers, they had such strong faith. And so as we continue to return, we need to return to the values and the principles this country was founded on. Let's also not forget that God is the one who orchestrated this country to be in existence in the first place. So I hope you have a great day. Take care, and God bless.